Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I'm at a new location today. I'm down here at Barangaroo, Harbourside, and it is a beautiful, tranquil Sydney spring morning. Hardly any breeze, so peaceful, and absolutely a great place, a great part of Sydney to visit for those who haven't been here before. I'm just down here below the Crown Casino building, which is that one there, which was built a couple of years ago by Lend-Lease, and it's considered to be one of the most beautiful office towers in the world. It is quite unique the way it's got a twist to it, and something for us Sydney-siders to be very proud of. Anyway, what I want to do today, like I normally do on Jim's 5am Club, is I want to go on a walk and talk and go through a book summary. And the book summary that I've got for today is entitled Everyday Millionaires by an author known as Chris Hogan. So we chop and change, we talk about different topics here on Jim's 5am Club, but the objective is to try and accumulate as much knowledge as possible. Not only accumulate it, but also to apply it where possible, and to tap in to the loads and loads of free OPE, other people's experiences, that is available on the internet in terms of books, book summaries, experiences, you name it. This will be my 1413th episode of Jim's 5am Club in English, and I'm well on my way to clocking up 1500 vlogs and being recognised as one of the world's most prolific vloggers of personal development material. I've put in a big effort over the past couple of years for those who have been following me, and have accumulated a significant library of material, which hopefully people will find useful. But I've found it a wonderful experience. It's been a great journey for me to live, learn and pass it on. And it's taken me to a lot of beautiful places throughout Sydney, throughout New South Wales, and hopefully throughout the world at some point in time as I continue to publish and produce these episodes. So let's kick off with a bit of learning from this book. And the author here kicks off this book with an observation. And it's a great observation. I absolutely love this whole concept of team and teaming and teamwork. And he says that in order to succeed in one's career, one needs to strive to become the ideal team player. Someone who is hungry and motivated to get better, to be a go-getter, to be humble, and one who knows that they are who they are and what they bring to the table. And are very, very smart and expert at managing relationships. A great tip for each and every one of us. I remember years ago when I worked for Telstra, we had a new executive join us by the name of Stefan Wazinski, who was a CEO in the IT space, and he joined our group. And at our first meeting, where we got together to discuss a couple of bids, he asked everybody in the team to basically introduce each other or themselves to each other, and then to simply state, based on the agenda that he talked about in terms of the reason why we're there for that meeting, how each and every one of us was going to bring value to the table. So a great leader with great leadership skills. And as I say, I remember that first meeting, even today, some 20 years later. So to be successful in one's career, according to this author, you need to be the ideal team player. You just can't be a once-off, all about me sort of person. You need to know how to team and how to get the best out of people, and to be humble at that, so that you don't turn off the people who are working with you. And you need to be an expert at managing relationships, both upwardly and downwardly, and across the same plane as what you are. So it's all about managing relationships in an effective manner. The author also talks about here the importance of becoming self-independent and the need to take control of your own finances in order to turn your dreams into reality. There's no use being a great manager and a great worker without making the most of the money that you make and investing it wisely, so that you can build a base, build a nest egg, so that you too can grow and develop as well as your family and have a bright and a better future. But the author here takes us through a number of uncomfortable truths, and we'll step through those individually. We'll just cover 2 or 3 of them, take 2 or 3 points out of this book today, and see how we can benefit from the learnings. And he basically tells us from the outset that most millionaires don't inherit their money, don't inherit their network or opportunities. They actually work for it. And it's through this hard work, determination, and and smart investments that really get people to grow and develop and to make a place in the world for themselves. They also live below their means, according to this author, and they invested early and paid off their debt early and were consistent, ever consistent with their actions. So there are some clear messages there. You've got to start early, you've got to be consistent, and you've got to stick to your plan in order to make the most of the best years of your career. The second point that this author makes is that in order to be wealthy, it's not about how much money you make, but how much money you invest along the way. A lot of people get sucked into living the big lifestyle and burning their cash early in their careers on cars, on holidays, on clothes, on experiences, which ends up, I guess, penalising them later on in life. So an important message from this author is that you need to make the most of every step along the way, and not to blow the opportunities, not to piss it up the wall, and to follow a budget and stick to your plan, because you need to learn to save your money. You need to make smart investments, and you need to follow a budget, is the big lesson that this author wants to pass on to the audience. And you also need to have multiple investment and income streams, and to master the laws of money, and to make the most of the money you have. To take advantage of OPE, other people's experiences, but also to take advantage of OPM, other people's money, to be able to leverage and use other people's money to your advantages. Fair enough, you pay interest. Fair enough, you're saddled with debt. But it's important to be debt propelled, according to this author, to get the most out of what you've got, and to leverage the opportunities, and not to wait for the day that you've got enough money to do the things you want to do. But as we said, you can use OPM and OPE, other people's money and other people's experiences, to get yourself started and to build the momentum that you need. And the author also talks about the importance of learning from others and having mentors, because successful people's habits are the things that have made them wealthy, their habits. So you can learn from their habits, you can mirror their habits, and you can make the most of their habits to get ahead in your life, step by step, because everybody at the end of the day has a different past, everybody has a different present. I am here, you are there, we're all experiencing a different now, and we're all going to have a different future, no doubt. And we all have a different fate. Just because it didn't work for your father, your mother, your brothers, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents, your workmates, your schoolmates, and other people, doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. So we're all called to live our calling, or callings. Some people may have more than one calling, but you need to find out what your calling is, what makes you passionate, what gets you up early in the morning and keeps you up late at night, and to do more of it. So the third point here is not to subscribe to victim mentality. I think we've all come across people in our lives who spend their whole lives talking about how they were mistreated when they were young, or how they were bullied at school, and spending far too much time worrying and thinking about their past, and using that as an excuse as to why they're not achieving anything today. Your past is your past. Don't worry about your past. Don't dwell, don't wallow in your past. And your future hasn't come. And there's no use being anxious about your future either, but to make the most of this moment that you have, the eternal now. So the author here, I guess, implores the audience not to overthink things, and to be people or persons of action, to be option thinkers, to be flexible doers, and to have a winning mentality, and to practice intentionally. This whole thing about deliberate practice, or being intentional in what you do, say, think, or do, is one of the critical lessons that comes from this book and this authorship, something that we can all benefit from. And the author then goes on to say how it's important to master, where possible, the decision-making process. Making decisions is just like a gym exercise where you build up your skill, you build up those decision-making muscles. And the only way to become better at decision-making is by making more decisions, but not only making decisions, but also considering and contemplating the first, second, and third level consequences, and then tracking those decisions and those consequences along the way. And if necessary, if you're not achieving the outcomes that you desire, to change your decision, and then think about the first, second, and third level consequences from that change decision, and then see how things map out, see how things work out, and take it step by step. So it's important, as the author says here, to be setting goals, and then breaking them into objectives, because clarity is power. Clarity is potential power. It's only when you take action It's only when you implement, when you execute those plans, those objectives, the action plan, that you actually start to get outcomes. And based on those outcomes, then you can decide whether or not you're on track or off track, and then make other decisions and take other actions. So the problem that a lot of people have, according to this author, is that they don't like making decisions. They want other people to make decisions for them. But if other people make decisions for you, then they get blamed when you don't achieve the outcome that you desire. So the author is saying that that's why it's important to make your own decisions and take responsibility, action, and ownership of your own destiny, so that you don't have someone else to blame, someone else to rely on other than yourself. So as we said, decision making is an art form. It's an exercise, just like when you go to the gym and you exercise your legs, your chest, your back. You also need to exercise your decision-making abilities, so that you too can build better decision-making skills and learn from the ups, the downs, the rights, the wrongs, and be flexible in your approach. You can be rigid in your goals, in what you want to achieve, but we all need to be flexible in our approach to learn how to surf the opportunities, so that we don't get disappointed along the way, because not everything's going to work out the way we want it to work out, and there are times where we're going to have to change the way we do things in order to get to where we want to get to. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It is a beautiful Monday morning down here at Barangaroo, and a beautiful, most beautiful part of Sydney. A lot of this land here, like a lot of property around the harbour, has been reclaimed over the years, and we have a number of walking tracks, bike riding tracks, which I'd love to come down here with my grandchildren one day and just explore and just enjoy. So take care, have a wonderful start to the business week. It may be wet this week from what I hear, but looking forward to coming to you again from a different place with a different message of empowerment, where we learn something new, and hopefully we can implement it and at least contemplate it throughout the day and build our skills, build our knowledge base based on the things that we're able to learn from other people, OPE, other people's experiences. Anyway, I'm starting work at 6:30, so I'll just go and start getting ready, and look forward to chatting again. Take care everybody, yasas, and bye for now.